I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
You're listening to the House of Cards on Facebook, YouTube, and BigPatriotRadio.com. All licenses for music and content have been purchased by and are for the express use of the Big Patriot Radio networks. All information, opinions, and topics are for entertainment purposes and do not expressly represent the opinion of the show's host and or producer. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And good evening, everybody. Glad to have you here. I'm Mike Covert, and it is Thursday night, May 21st. Can you believe this already? We're in May, the 21st of May. Wow, it seems like every week I say that it gets later and later. And wow, what do you do? What do you do? We are glad to have you here. We're coming to you live from the Big Patriot Radio studios here in the great state of South Carolina. I want to welcome everybody on Facebook and YouTube and to those listening around the world on BigPatriotRadio.com. Thank you so much for joining in. We appreciate it so much. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, don't forget to go to the like, subscribe, follow, share, ring the bell, toot the horn, whatever. Go to all those and especially share the show. If you have some folks that maybe, you know, if you haven't told them about tonight, which by gosh, you should have, especially with tonight's show, let them know now. Share it online, like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget, if you have the opportunity to get your camera out right here, you see right beside me that little QR code over here this week or over there this week. Click on that. That'll take you right to buymeacoffee.com, and you can help support the show. It's a great site. Buymeacoffee.com / I believe it's Big Patriot Radio. You can click right there, and hey, your support is greatly appreciated. And as we always do, we do during the week, during the radio show, when we're on, we want to thank those folks who do that continuously. PB out of Bluffton, thank you. Yahoozy12, thank you for your support. Let's see, any Mouse Star, in Pardo 523, thank you so much. BG, we thank you for your support. Gemini 8224. Again, this week, Bob and Chuck 180. Thanks a lot for staying involved and going over here to this QR code. CAD M17. CAD M17, thank you so much for being a part and being a member. We appreciate that. Peter Cottontail 26 and Cliff W53. Thank you as always for your support. It is greatly appreciated. And that was the end of that. Just a quick reminder, we've got so much stuff going on. I'm going to try to cut out some things that we usually do that some people call them time fillers or whatever. But we've got so much stuff, and we don't want to keep people here till midnight because I don't want to be here till midnight. But just a quick reminder, if you want to have your business logo, name, and recognition on the Beaufort County House of Cards Election Night show, that will be on June 9th, right here on Beaufort County's House of Cards, Facebook and YouTube, and on BigPatriotRadio.com from about 6:45 until we can't go anymore. We're going to cover the elections all throughout South Carolina, specifically in congressional districts 1 and 6 and 2, and all of the little races that are actually the huge races inside of those. So we're going to be doing that. If you want to have your business logo shown, like this one right here, this is Sounds Better Now. I'll tell you about those folks here in a minute. They jumped on board, as did Uptown Auctions. Uptown Auctions right there in Okatee on 170 in uptownauctions.com, I believe it is. Anyway, all you have to do is reach out to us over, social media or email us at, let's see, don't we have an email up here somewhere? I'm sure we do. There it is, bigpatriotradio@gmail.com. Shoot us an email, shoot us a direct message or what have you, and let us know. Prices start at $50 and go up to only $250 if you want to sponsor the whole show. But we want to thank these folks over here. The Sounds Better Now, Marlo Richardson. Wow, does a great job. We'll tell them about them here in a minute. Uptown Auctions, they're also involved, and that's going to be for primary day, June 9th. Speaking of Sounds Better Now, these folks, what do they do? I want to tell you about them. They specialize in professional audio and video installations and repair. They have services from simple speaker replacements to integrated audio and video streaming projects, including, which is so cool, these custom video walls. That is really cool when you do that. And displays, they do it all. Give them a call, 843-330-3124. That's 330. Looks like a 1 up there on the screen, but it's 330-3124. I have to have somebody check that here. And that Sounds Better Now. All right. Let's change lanes here just a second. You saw the name of the show. The title of the show, rather, is Election Interference Happening in or into your local elections? That's a pretty serious question, and you need to think about that. Whether you're here in Beaufort or you're over there in Jasper or up the street in Hampton or Colleton, Greenville, wherever you are, even in the parishes of Louisiana or wherever, you have local elections, and you need to be sure that they're not being interfered with. Because you see, you have two entities. You have political clubs and you have political schemes of parties. And we've talked about this in general, but I'm going to narrow it down a little bit, talking about election interference. Throughout American history, citizens have gathered in groups to talk about ideas, challenge leadership, hold public officials accountable, all that kind of stuff. That's all part of the political process. Sometimes these groups are formed as actual formal political parties. And other times there are civic clubs. We had a group on last week, I believe it was, a local political non-affiliated club of the Republican Party, Coastal Conservative Alliance. Constitutional groups, taxpayer associations. Yes, there are Republican clubs and Democrat clubs, liberty groups, issue-based organizations. I mean, whatever. There are a lot of groups that form to talk about this. Regardless of the label, there's an important distinction worth talking about here very shortly. And by the way, our first guest is already back in the green room. So moments away. There are moments when political clubs provide better discourse, better candidate interaction, and better treatment of everyday citizens than some larger political parties. Well, why is that? And again, we're kind of piggybacking and dovetailing off what we talked about last week. And that's because clubs are built around participation. Now, let's see. Let's go, hang with me here just a second. Hang tight. Hang tight. I want you to hear something that I have down here for you. And let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Well, this won't play, but that is all right. That's all right. So you come to the two words that are out of this topic, and that is election interference. When people hear those words, they immediately picture, foreign hackers, cyber attacks, fake social media accounts, maybe ballots appearing in the middle of the night, the chafing from, that's probably 20 years ago now, down in Florida. That's the version, and all those things happen. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's the version we've all been conditioned to focus on. And yes, it's conditioned into us to think about that. And yes, protecting elections from outside threats, that does matter. Absolutely. Could not agree more that matters. But what if the greatest danger to some people perceive democracy or the constitutional republic, what if it's not foreign? What if the biggest threat comes from inside the political system itself? What if election interference has evolved into something more sophisticated, more institutional, and far more difficult to expose? And I'd love to hear from you what you think about this as we go along. Because today, interference doesn't always happen at the ballot box. No, interference happens sometimes long before voters ever cast a vote. It happens in private meetings, in consultant strategy sessions, in party headquarters, in donor circles, in carefully coordinated media narratives. It happens through influence, intimidation, manipulation, and control. If anybody ever says there is no election interference happening in X county, they either are naive or they just don't get it, because it does happen. It is happening. And the American people rarely see it happening in real time. Political insiders have learned something over the years. You don't have to rig every vote if you can rig the environment around the voter. Think about that for a second. If you rig the environment around the voter, do you need to rig the vote? Who decides which candidate? Really think about these next questions. Who is it that decides which candidate gets media attention? Who decides who receives party funding? Who decides who gets endorsements, debate access, donor support, and institutional protection? Who decides which scandals dominate the headlines and which scandals just poof, disappear overnight? Who determines which candidate becomes a serious contender and which one is labeled extreme, unelectable, or dangerous before the public even can hear their message? Now that is power. And in many cases, it's unelected power. Not just the elected, it could be, and in many cases is unelected power. There are political operatives in this country who have spent decades mastering the art of persuasion and the art of perception. They call that perception management. They understand psychology far better than policy. They know how to manufacture momentum. They know how to destroy reputations. They know how to manipulate narratives without ever appearing on a ballot themselves. And when an outsider enters the arena, someone not controlled by the system, the machine activates immediately. I've heard and seen writings from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people just over the last 4 weeks alone that have really been keeping track of this, of comments about how do they get all the air in the room? Why are they part of the machine? The comment of the machine, and it goes on. So first, here's the step-by-step. And if you're an elected official or wanting to be an elected official, and this applies to you or your campaign, take some notes and ask questions. Because first comes ridicule. They ridicule you. Then come the coordinated attacks. Poof, 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 poof. Then anonymous sources begin leaking stories to friendly reporters. Then donors are becoming pressured behind closed doors. Then former allies suddenly disappear. The social media floods begin with outrage that somehow sounds strangely organized and perfectly timed. Is that a coincidence? Maybe sometimes, but not always. Because political insiders protect their power the same way corporations protect market share. They eliminate threats before those threats become unstoppable. And if you don't believe that happens, you haven't been paying attention to American politics for the last 50 years at least. Both parties have done this. That's very important to understand. I'm not picking on the Democrats. I'm not picking on the Republicans. I'm not picking on anybody else's. Every party has done this. It's not about Republicans versus Democrats. It's not even about left versus right. Corruption doesn't belong to one ideology. Power protects itself. Always. The political establishment may argue publicly during the raid, but behind the doors, there is often one shared interest: maintaining control over the system that benefits them. You will even see some political operatives cross lines because it will benefit them or their maneuvered ability better. Once you understand that, everything begins to start looking a little bit different when you see these posts or hear these comments, see these videos. Suddenly you realize that elections are not just contests of ideas. They're battles over influence, battles over information, battles over perception, battles over persuasion, battles over who gets heard and who gets silenced. You see, most Americans still believe the biggest moment in democracy is Election Day, but insiders know the real battle happens months earlier. That's why right now in the primary, it's getting amped up every single day, mainly from what we assume and what I can deduce is that the political establishment is getting rocked. They're getting hammered by the truth. People have begun to wake up. People aren't stupid. The establishment, the power source, the power hungry have thought for years that the citizen, John and Jane Doe America, would just go along and do whatever they say. That's how we got the phrase, just vote down ballot. Because I'm telling you to. No, you need to think for yourself. You need to hear everybody, not be told who to vote for. So when you hear the word, here's our slate of candidates, that's not a good thing. That's not healthy. Listen to all the candidates. Make your own decisions. Make up your own mind. By the time the citizens walk into the voting booth, if we still had such a thing, much of the decision-making landscape has already been shaped for them. Candidates have already been filtered. Narratives have already been established. Public opinion has already been manipulated through repetition, emotional framing, selective coverage, and coordinated messaging. The public thinks they're choosing freely. That's one of the things about this program. We have, for 4 years now, we have offered the microphone to everybody. This year we had a Democrat on. Yours truly was accused of collaborating and corroborating with the enemy, the Democrats, because I had a Democrat on. He actually is a pretty nice guy. We actually agree with a lot of stuff each other. We do have differences. He's still a Democrat. I'm not. That's okay. I had a libertarian on. He had a libertarian on. The word I got back from the party was that, how dare you? How dare you? I've had a lot of Republicans on, but you know who's like decided to not show up to an event? Decided not to show up to a confirmed multiple time forum? It wasn't a Democrat. It was a Republican. Now let's talk about fear. Fear is one of the most powerful political weapons ever created. Insiders know that if they can create and then keep voters angry, divided, emotionally reactive, they can control public behavior more easily. So, what on earth do they do? Well, they convince citizens that the other side is simply not wrong, but evil. Another case in point. If you look here locally and wherever you're listening, think about it locally, because I almost guarantee, unless you live in Mayberry, I guarantee this is happening to you. People that you talk to all the time, whether it was in person, on the phone, or on social media, may not share the same same vision for, X position. They believe in someone else than you do, which, by the way, is healthy. Just saying. And all of a sudden, they become apoplectic. They become an idiot. They become a moron, ignorant. And it's like they're losing their bowels on social media. I mean, this is ridiculous. You can't have a comfortable disagreement. All of a sudden, you have lost your ever-loving mind. They begin to make memes up. They begin to have fake accounts. Unbelievable. They convince citizens that the other side is not just wrong, but evil. Not simply mistaken, but dangerous. You can't vote for Tom Reitz. You have to vote for Elizabeth Gillowaggy or whatever her name is. And if you don't believe that, you are just evil. That's the kind of thing people say. Oh, you can't vote for this guy for sheriff. And if you vote for that guy, you are just mentally corrupt. How did it get to that? How did it get to that? Not simply political opponents, but enemies of the nation, for gosh sakes. That's not what this is about. But that is what the establishment, especially, unfortunately, I'm going to call it like a spade, that's what they're doing. If you, in South Carolina, if you don't toe the party token, you are castigated out. Go. And that's wrong. We talked about that with David Pascoe earlier this year. Former Democrat, absolutely, running for Republican Attorney General. Let me give you a little insight to those of you who are saying he's still a Democrat and he hasn't, his Democrat diaper hasn't come off yet. He's not allowed. Like there's some kind of litmus test. You have to be a Republican for 18 months, 10 years before you're allowed to run for office or some bullshit like that. No. He doesn't toe the party line. He switched parties because he had to. That's how this works, folks. He had to. If he's running for AG as a Democrat, there's no way in God's green earth that he would get elected. He has to run as a Republican. I'm going to tell you the truth, the hard part, the stuff that neither party wants you to hear. That's the way the game is played. Here's an example. Years ago, when I've been here 30 plus years, when I first came here, Jasper County, hard Democrat. If you smelled like a Republican, you couldn't win office in Jasper County to save your butt. Times change. I have a lot of close friends in the political offices over there in Jasper County. One of them switched parties and ran as a Republican, and he's not in it anymore. And I asked him, et cetera, I'm not going to mention his name. Dude, you ran under, you were Danny Democrat. Now you're Robbie Republican. What the hell? He said, man, the county's changed. I have to run as Republican if I want to get elected. That's the truth. That's the game. That's what it is. Anyway, when this starts happening, fear dominates the public. Rational debate disappears. Citizens stop asking questions because they're tired, they're afraid, they're pissed off. They just stop demanding transparency. They stop examining evidence objectively, and they become loyal to teams instead of principles. Some political insiders genuinely believe that they have the right to interfere. They justify it by convincing themselves they're protecting democracy. When insiders begin believing voters are too uninformed to make the correct decisions, democracy becomes conditional. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. It should never be conditional. Conditional democracy is not democracy at all. It becomes controlled governance disguised as public choice. That's where censorship, and that's when we start going down the road of Marxism and socialism and communism. Is that what you want? Once that line is crossed, transparency dies. It dies in the darkness. And I want to be clear about something as we're getting ready to go to our guest. Questioning political systems is not anti-American. Listen to what I just said. Questioning political systems and parties and methods is not anti-American. It is one of the most profoundly American red, white, and blue things you can do is to question party, question policy, and question practice. If you go along just to get along, you're blind and you follow in line to the tune of the brown shirts, guess where that's going to lead you? That's going to lead you into a darkness that is hard to get out of. Free society, it requires skepticism. You have to be skeptical. You have to ask the founders. I say it all the time. Those founding fathers were the smartest individuals I've ever read about. They knew this. They feared concentrated power more than anything else. And look at what they wrote. Look at what they did. Look at how they set this up. They did not want one having too much power. That's why freedom of speech matters. Free press matters. Citizens got to remain vigilant because power left unchecked always expands. Always expands. It's amazing. It is amazing. And that's why transparency, it matters now more than ever. Not selective transparency, not partisan transparency, real transparency, equitable accountability, open debate, independent scrutiny, and the courage to question power no matter who holds it. Because if Americans only care about corruption when the opposing party commits it, corruption wins. You have to look under everyone's rug. A nation manipulated by algorithms, consultants, donors, insiders, and institutions competing for influence over public perception. But here's the hopeful part. The American people still possess the power. You still possess the enormous power, ladies and gentlemen, because they may not admit it, but they do know you hold the power. They fear one thing, ladies and gentlemen, and as we're into this election season and early voting starts like in 5 days, 4 days here in South Carolina, the one thing they fear more than anything is an informed and a united citizenry. That's why independent journalists are beat like dogs, because mainstream media and political machines don't like independent media telling you the real truth. That's why transparency matters. That's why courage matters. Not the courage to hate your neighbor, the courage to challenge systems that benefit from division. And the last thing I can say is I hope that truth always matters more, way more than power. All right, let's turn the page and let's turn this over here. Nothing gets me riled up when I start thinking about the political machine that tries to keep people down. It's not supposed to be that way. You know, weeks ago, myself and Heather Rath Consulting had worked for quite some time putting together a GOP forum for candidates for sheriff. Most everybody, I would assume, on here knows about that. If you didn't, welcome to the party. We put in a lot, and I mean a lot of time. I tip my hat especially to Heather Rath Consulting, because if I put in what I think is a lot of time, she put in 10 times as much. She deserves the credit. We had both GOP candidates confirm multiple times. We even moved time and date and location for one or the other at different times because these two guys got a lot of stuff going on. We get it. We wanted to accommodate them and their campaigns. This is a machine. We wanted to accommodate them due to more expectations from them. One candidate at the last minute pulled out, or should I actually say someone in the campaign that we never ever had to talk to or work with, all of a sudden said that they were pulling out because she, Kelly, handled the calendar for Mr. Seifert. Again, we had moved dates and times and places multiple times for both candidates. Never once did we have to talk to a Kelly. And quite frankly, Kelly, if you are just now getting the thumb up to monitor his calendar, what in the hell is that campaign even doing on the ballot? This is not the time to be creating positions to monitor my calendar. Anyway, quickly, that candidate moved on from that to the fact that I was biased because, get this, 4 years ago, candidate for Sheriff JoJo Woodward was on a flyer, as was Lauren Martell, as was Tom Reitz, as was yours truly. We were all running for office. We were all invited to a private, I'll call it a party, at a residence here in Bluffton, Hampton Hall. Tom Curry and his wife, wonderful family. We were all invited. We all had time to talk. But he said, the Seifert guy, because I was on that flyer with JoJo Woodward, obviously that shows a bias towards one candidate over the other from 4 friggin' years ago. Only a few weeks seem to transpire and expire since then. And the stories out of that camp seem to compound, and I don't want to say false truths were said, but things were said that started to overlap each other, and the stories compounded to the fact that now all I can say is it's like a drain. If you've ever unclogged a drain and you see the circle of death in the toilet bowl or the sink, that's what that campaign is doing. That campaign is doing that, and the other campaign now is explode. Oh, I forgot to mention, because a flyer went out with I think the picture still looks like the guy, but obviously it's not. That means I am completely biased. Obviously, the man doesn't know much about artificial intelligence, and that's how this stuff is made now. We corrected it. We put a new picture out there that actually wasn't as good looking as the other picture, but whatever, did whatever he wanted. But that makes me biased. Anyway, that campaign is doing that. Another campaign we've got on here tonight is exploding, actually exploding with optimism. It's gaining traction from every corner of this county. And I talk to people in every corner and every tributary in this county, and I hear nothing but the same thing. And this campaign is with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to please join me in welcoming the next sheriff for Beaufort County, Mr. JoJo Woodward. JoJo, I can't hear you. I think you may be muted. We'll give JoJo a second. His team there. Hey, I know about this. This stuff gets you click one thing and the other thing goes off. I get it. It's all good. While we're waiting on, we'll get that fixed here in just a minute. So this last piece of biasedness, if that's even a word, was really unbelievable. That because a flyer was put out and the artificial intelligence used a picture that was not correct. Can you hear me now? Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Let me make sure I don't have. Nope, you're good. You're good on my end. All right, so we're just somehow the microphone over there is not. So anyway, when you do artificial intelligence, and this is just, this is where we are at technology. You speed things up. We use it in business. We use it here all the time to create banners, to create flyers, show announcements. You think if you had to do that piece by piece by piece by piece, it would take forever. It would just take forever. Now I can create multiple flyers multiple times on the fly, and it's not a big deal at all. Unfortunately, that happened. I tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to remove you from the screen and see if that'll clear anything and come back. So let's do that. And we'll come back and make sure. Try it now. Nope. It should be at the bottom. Well, I don't know your system, but the microphone should be able to be turned on the bottom right, I think. Hang in there, ladies and gentlemen. We'll tell you. Let me make sure that I've got all of. So we're good there. So coming up next week, while they're fixing this, next week we've got an interesting show. We're going to have a co-host, special co-host. We may have him here. Not sure about that yet. We're not sure. But we're going to have a special. Hey, there you are.
Boom.
Bingo. Ladies and gentlemen, the next sheriff of Beaufort County, JoJo Woodward. How are you, sir?
Man, I didn't know I was going to have this kind of problems.
Hey, let me tell you, if a show went on without a problem, I don't know what I would do. There's always something not working, or it's not clicking, or I don't know. Man, it's good to see you.
Same here, Mike. Glad to be on your show.
Man, I'm so glad to have you on. This was the week we were going to have that forum, but I don't want to waste time thinking about that. We have you here, and it is so good to see you. Before I've got a whole bunch of questions for you, but I want to ask you. You know, you've been I don't know how many weeks. I guess what is it? Maybe 3 months into running. Is that about right?
About right. Yep.
Are you having fun still?
Absolutely. Every day is a different day. We having fun.
Mama hadn't told you you need to bring it down a notch or two yet.
Hey, we're taking it in stride.
All right, JoJo, I've got a bunch of stuff to ask you. I know a lot of people are interested in hearing what's going on. We do have folks. I want to make sure you're aware. If you want to ask a question, all you got to do is go to your whatever Facebook or YouTube or whatever platform you're on. Go into your chat and just what you're watching us on, obviously, and put it in there. It'll come to me, and we'll get it on there. And JoJo, from time to time, I'll mention if I can right here. Michael Reynolds is joining us, saying JoJo rocks, and Gina McCracken checking in as well. Go JoJo. So I want to jump right into it, if that's okay. Yep. I know this has been asked, if not once, probably 50 times. This is not your first rodeo. What is it? Why is it you want to be sheriff?
Mike, this is personal. I mean, Beaufort County is not only a place that I work. This is where I'm raising my children. You know, I've been in this profession for 40 years, and I want to lead the men and women of this county to make it a safer place for us all to live.
It's how more succinct can it be than that? Another listener checking in, Helga. She lives over there in northern Beaufort County, asking for yard signs. So I know your team is on it. If you would check out Helga Sprunk Crandall, I think she would love to have some yard signs. You know, JoJo, if I can call you JoJo.
Absolutely.
I've known you a long time. I've known your brother a long time. I think I've known him probably longer, from the days back when the Speedway was in Hardyville. You know, I met this guy. We were after the races, everybody sharing a Coca-Cola, and here comes the chief, Sam. I got to know this guy, and he's kind of like an uncle that isn't here in town, and I get to meet you, and you're like the other uncle, and know you guys are brothers. And how did you both get into law enforcement? I mean, was that by design? Was that accident? Family heritage? How did that happen?
So, Mike, years ago, as a kid, my dad, he was a forest ranger, and back then they made him state constable, so they got to carry a gun and badge, and they would investigate arson fires and things like that. And as a kid, my dad would let me ride with him to these fires and things like that. And my brother, the same thing. As we grew older, my brother became a deputy sheriff over in Jasper County, and then I become a firefighter. And I saw where this, relationship in law enforcement my brother had with citizens, helping them and stuff. We'd have long conversations. Well, I want to be that guy too. And I was recruited in 1986 to go work at the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. So it's been in our blood. My brother, obviously, now he's the chief of Hardyville. He's done a great job there. He's been a good mentor for me. Mm-hmm. Our father has passed, and he's become the guy to fill that void for me for many years. And I'm very proud of him.
Outstanding. Yeah, I am as well. Both of you all. Do you get to share a lot, brother to brother? Hey, what do you think? What would you do in this position? And what would you do? Do you get to have that kind of time?
Oh, yes. He takes me turkey hunting and fishing. And when we're doing these things, we are always talking about, what's going on at the job. What are you seeing different? So we can bounce things off each other, and it really works. And he's more experienced at this than I am. But, I really appreciate and admire it. So
awesome. There's been a lot of criticism, not just recently, but for a while now, about the current sheriff's office here in Beaufort County and its top-heavy structure. Now, do you agree with this criticism? And if so, what is the JoJo Woodward approach to this top-heavy structure?
Well, it is definitely top-heavy. And on day one, we're going to address that, Mike. We need more boots on the ground. And we're going to take some of that, and that's where we're going to take it. We need to solve more crime, and you can't do that at the office. So we got to have them out in the street.
Love it. Love it. We have a listener checking in. Chris Wilson says, would you consider unencrypting the dispatch talk group so the public could hear general dispatch? You would still have encrypted talk groups, laptops, cell phones for secure communications, and I believe that would be trunk communications. Anyway, he says, I think it would be a positive for the public understanding what your deputies would be dealing with every day. Interesting question. Would you consider that?
It was something we'd have to look at. I'm just not really sure that's something that I'd want to do.
Gotcha. I know talking about, technical technology, aviation, all that, those are buzzwords today. And you hear a lot of this with the Sheriff's Department currently. When you think about, technology, where we are, technology, where it needs to go, aviation, where it is now, where it needs to go, if it needs to go anywhere, what are your impressions and views with those things in regards to the Sheriff's Department?
Well, I understand, Mike, that we're going to be getting a helicopter. We need to look at how much that's really costing the taxpayers, whether it's flight time, maintenance, and all these things. Me personally, I want to go to a drone system. You might spend $6,000 an hour on a helicopter, where you can spend about $111 on a drone, and it's more efficient.
Mm-hmm. I have been speaking, I've written about this online, and I had opportunity to talk with some of the folks on your campaign team prior to lately. But about that very thing, when I started doing some numbers, and officer or deputy or lieutenant or whatever it is, Corporal Baxley had put down numbers for replacing the existing helicopter, and keeping one for parts and whatever. I mean, the number went from 2 million to 4 million to 1 million to 6 million. the target was moving, and I had talked to some of those folks, like I said, on your team, and I said, hey, I agree with this thought of a drone. And I looked into high end aviation, drone aviation that had heat seeking, radar, all these abilities, and you could buy two of them, one for north of the Broad, one for south of the Broad, and still have money left over from what they're thinking about doing. So I applaud you that you're already ahead of me, and I applaud you for looking at that. Another thing to look at is traffic. Obviously, you don't need to tell you this. So that traffic is an issue in this county. It's a huge issue all over this county. And it's not an issue that you as sheriff can solve, but it's an issue that you as sheriff are going to have a lot of input. How will you work with, not only your department, but county council and county administration and DOT? How will you work and lead to improve the traffic issues that we see and what some perceive as a current lack of enforcement in Beaufort County?
Well, Mike, that's a good question. Bottom line is we got to have traffic enforcement working with our traffic management. And I'm talking about a traffic team that works the whole entire county. We know where the problems are at. I mean, the data's there. We know where the wrecks usually are going to happen. And why wait? Why be reactive? Let's get to be proactive. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to build us a traffic team, and that's going to be their primary job. They're not going to have answering other calls. They're going to be actually working these traffic accidents. They're going to be working, red lights, running red lights, distracted driving. That's going to be their primary function. And I think when we do that, working with our DOT, our engineers, syncing these lights up all the way when you get off of 95 all the way to Hilton Head, you should be able to not have to worry about what's going on. But we have a serious problem with wrecks and people running red lights, and we're gonna have our traffic unit take care of those things.
Now, while I agree, 150% on this traffic enforcement type team, I know at one time that was a thing here. I was friends with here in the southern part of the county. I call him a kid. He's younger than me, but he headed that up, and now it's gone. What happened to it? Why would? And I'm assuming, don't put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming Tanner ended the traffic enforcement or the heat team or whatever they called it. Why? Why is that gone?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what their excuse would be, but I would go with the aspect that when there's not enough officers, that's the first thing they take. They take those traffic teams and put them where other parts of the at the sheriff's office, and that's something we can't have. We got to have those guys out there working every day. And, not only us, we're going to work with our municipalities. We're going to work with highway patrol. It's going to be a team effort. We got to bring everybody to the table. And I think once we do that, I think you're going to see a difference out here. But I do know one thing, Mike, that when I ran for office before and now I'm running again, what do you see out there more often right now when there's an election? There's people out there watching the traffic. Those guys are out there. Why are they not always out there?
Yeah. It should be 24/7. Yeah. I've had conversations with other sheriffs in this state, more in the state of Florida and in Georgia, but and I keep referring to heat teams. It seems like that's a popular name. I mean, that's like here's the same thing. Drug task force. I know that was a big thing with you years ago. And we had that here, and now all of a sudden it's gone. I mean, that's far be it from me to say this, but isn't that like Sheriff 101?
Absolutely. I mean, that's something dear to my heart. I've actually when I first started in law enforcement, and I saw other officers doing drug work, I said, you know what, that's kind of the area I want to go in, and that's exactly what I did. I went out there and I started making cases on the road, figuring my path to working at drug task force. And I did actually become the multi-agency drug task force commander right there in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. We had officers from Beaufort. We had officers from the embassy. We had them from every agency working with us. We had like 14 people. That's years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they go? I'm not sure, Mike, but I know what hadn't gone anywhere, and that's called drugs. It's all over this county. It's all over other counties. And we've got to work it together with other agencies to be more efficient at what's going on.
We have a question from a viewer that I want to bring up here in just a second, but I want to kind of go from what you just said. You know, I don't want to call anyone that this is like a dereliction of what they've been doing, but I guess that's really what I'm doing, because the problem has not gone away. The problem has gotten worse. A son-in-law of mine was a DRE at one time here in Beaufort. At one time, he was the only one in the county, which still blows my mind. And I would hear about the drug stories, you know, the things that you saw every day. You were endorsed today by probably, I call Sheriff Malfris, he's a human drug sniffer. I mean, the guy, I've seen stories about him where he stopped the car and can kind of go right to the back quarter panel and know there's, you know, five kilos of drugs. I mean, Chris is unbelievable. To me, from what I'm hearing, you want to stop these problems that it's not new. You just said it's not new. We have a question from someone. Janet's chiming in here. In the last year or more, the media and social media have reported on a ton of rather significant drug busts in Jasper County, but it seems we never hear about anything on this level in Beaufort County. Everyone knows there's a crap ton of drugs and drug use in Beaufort County. Why is there such a discrepancy between the neighboring counties? And that is a perfect question. Why is the problem reported as a Jasper thing when, but hold that thought. I beg to differ. It's as bad, if not worse, right here.
Hey, you got to be transparent about what's going on. These people are not stupid. They know that there's problems. You know, there's where I'm going to go back and say we're going to do a multi-agency drug task force. We need Beaufort working with Jasper. We need Jasper working with Hampton. So we cover all the bases. These drug dealers, they don't have no county lines they stop at. Hey, I'll just deal drugs over here today. No. And then we're going to marry up with our federal partners, DEA and things like that. That's the only way we're going to catch it all. You can't do this job by yourself. Drug enforcement takes a lot of people and a lot of effort. And that's something I pride myself in, teamwork, building those teams. Over in Jasper, Chris has been very good to work for. He's a very hands-on sheriff, you know, and that's what we need. And that's what I'm going to be. I'm not going to be that guy you're going to see at the office all the time. I'm going to be out here with my troops, watching what's going on, maintaining. I mean, I'm looking forward to it.
JoJo, do you think would you agree with me that the citizen, the normal and usual citizen, would appreciate hearing from a sheriff who carries a gun instead of a 4-wood and says, we have a drug problem. We have drugs coming across 95 on the Pill Parkway to the tune where they don't come in baggies. They come in cakes. Fortunately, I've had the experience. I was able to see that one time. Xanax cakes. Unbelievable. But yet Beaufort County doesn't have that problem. Another thing that we are very, at this show and this outlet, we're very, very much behind supporting those who try to stop and prevent and recover from trafficking, drug trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking, child trafficking, whatever. Would you agree with me that the trafficking problem in Beaufort County is so bad that people would literally think twice about uttering the next word if they knew just how bad trafficking in all those forms really are here?
Well, that's a good question, Mike. The bottom line is we have to be transparent. I mean, we have to let our citizens know there is a problem. Again, who's going to help us with that? Okay, they know the suspicious cars. They know the deals going into parking lots. There is gangs in this county. We've got to tell people there's gangs. I mean, for us not to acknowledge there's gangs, there's human trafficking, I mean, human trafficking, I'm the co-chair of the Human Trafficking Task Force for the Low Country.
Oh, okay.
We see it, and we work it. But we got to be transparent with our citizens. That's what we got to do, Mike. We got to just be.
JoJo, your platform, and everybody can see it. They can go to your website. Your platform contains, and I've heard you talk about this, community policing. Some people will say, well, that's just another buzzword, that they're using or he's using or whatever. We hear a lot about it, and we also hear a lot about immigration, okay, or illegal immigration. I'd make sure I clear that. I'm all for immigration, just legal immigration. How will you return? And you probably already said this, but how are you going to return to the community policing mentality, and how are you going to approach the issue of illegal immigration?
Okay, let's start with community policing. We're going to have our deputies assigned to areas in this county in these communities that they're going to know who these people are in their community, and the community is going to know who those deputies are. We've got to have that bond and that relationship. And the only way to do that, Mike, is we got to get out of the cars. We got to go to HOA meetings. We got to just really embed ourselves in that community, invest in it. It could be where they live. But the bottom line is, I think that we'll go back to what really community policing is. And that's a one-on-one, knowing who we are, them knowing who we are, and we knowing who they are, and to communicate. I think we've missed the boat on that for a while. I think people don't know who we are. They only see us show up at a bad time, and they don't talk to us. Well, I can tell you, if they're not talking to us, we're losing, whether we're losing the war on drugs or we're losing the war on human trafficking. So it's going to be a big push for me to get our deputies out of the office, out of the cars, and into our communities.
Do you feel that if you pull yourself out of your chair and try to go into, John or Jane Doe America, Jane or John Doe Beaufort County, is the perception of law enforcement right now positive, stagnant, or is it negative? Overall.
Well, I'm telling you, it's been a tough time to be a law enforcement officer. We do sometimes very crazy things that we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are so many good men and women out there in the sheriff's office. I'm talking about Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. We all get some bad rap. It's going on what's happening nationally or locally. But the bottom line, our citizens got to trust what we're doing for them.
Yeah.
And we're going to believe that they're going to back us at the end of the day, Mike.
And that starts at the top.
Yes.
Starts at the top. You, to me, you seem, and the things that I've known for years, you're not going to ask your people to do anything that you wouldn't do yourself. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt. I've seen that, and I appreciate that. Let's go to a different topic. You had made, or your team or somebody made a social media post the other day. While I try to remain independent as possible, but I couldn't on this one. You mentioned salary compression. Now, as a numbers guy, and one who understands, words do matter. They really do. I greatly, to be quite honest with you, and folks, he and I have not talked about this, but I appreciated your explanation of that to the nth degree. When I saw salary compression, the numbers started, it was like high frequency stuff going off in my head. And you explained it to a T. Why do some people believe that, let's just throw dollars at a problem, see what sticks, and by golly, it's going to go away? Is that ignorance, or is it just not being competent in the understanding that, having been on county council, let me tell you, the sheriff's department is a business? Is it ignorance, or is it just not knowing what the hell you're doing?
Well, Mike, throwing just random numbers out there to see if they stick, that is definitely not the way to do the business. These men and women need to know firsthand what they're going to be making. People just don't always leave this agency for money. is sometimes the culture, but we got a pay plan, and I've explained it earlier. But bottom line is, I think they're really going to like what they see. We're going to try to start them at 64,000. Every person there is going to get a $3,000 raise. We're going to appreciate what they've been doing. We're going to realign some of that hierarchy, those command staff, to save money, and some of those vacancies. According to how many vacancies there are, we're going to take that money and we're going to be able to do something with the budget. And we're not going to. And we're not. Here's another thing, Mike. We're not going to ask for any more money outside the budget. It's all in the budget. So we're not asking for any money outside of that.
It's always interesting for someone who sat in on the dais looking at the CFO of the sheriff's department or the sheriff, and they come for X amount of dollars in May, March, whatever. And then they come back in September and go, well, by the way, let's add this. We'll talk more about that. Let me ask you, and I want to be respectful of your time. This past year, there was a huge black cloud hanging over the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office with the murders of, I think it was 4 people that were murdered out there on St. Helena at Willie's place there at Corners Community. The current sheriff was adamant in publicly telling the proprietor, matter of fact, I spoke to him again today, the proprietor, that he was, quote, I am going to shut you down, end quote. Is this the way, nothing against the current sheriff, I'm not going there, but is this the way that Sheriff Woodward would have done that? Looking at it, in hindsight, telling a proprietor, I will shut you down in public.
Yeah, that's probably not the language I would use. I mean, that's probably not the stance I would go in. I would properly do an investigation, have our partners helping us with the investigation. And again, you got to have that crime scene, and having 700 people, Mike, at least that's what they told us, 700 people, and no one's seen anything. I mean, there's where you got to have that community engagement. Yeah. People want to tell you what's going on, but yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I found that interesting. Again, as words matter, and I've studied words and things like that. That went from 700 out of the mouth of the sheriff down to 3 or 4, down to 1 or 2. I think that was publicly, the information was not delivered in the most honest or proper way. Moving forward, something that I've heard you talk about. I'm sorry, go ahead.
If we're still going to talk about the incident out there,
yeah.
It's again, when we talk about a community engagement or community activity and stuff like that, as the sheriff's office, if that was such a problem place, then why didn't have more deputies in line? You know what I mean? In other words, we got to be proactive and not reactive. And I think, as my administration, that's where I want to go with the law enforcement. I just don't want to wait for an incident to happen. If we know that there's a problem, let's deal with it right away.
I said something a while back, and I heard it just the other day. I remember I was at one of these functions, that you go to. Somebody said, and I had said, why isn't there a what do you call, like a outpost? I don't know the right word. Substation. Oh, yeah. Why isn't there a substation at the Corners Community? Now, I said that back when I was on county council, and I was told, well, that would be nothing more than a donut and coffee shop, which, if I was a deputy, I would be a little pissed off thinking that my administration thought of me that way. But does that make sense to you?
Hey, I can assure you, we're going to have substations all over this county because you're going to be working out of your car instead of working out of office, the 14 offices that we have. And substations is where the public can come and feel comfortable meeting officers. And it is a place that officer, if that's what he wants to do, is have his lunch there. And it's visible in the community where there's a problem. Mm-hmm. So
awesome. Let me ask you, speaking of problem areas and problem things, there are currently, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but there are over 40 some odd murders in Beaufort County since like the 1970s forward. in my opinion, I think this is unacceptable. I think it is it shows signs of poor leadership and poor this and poor that. My question to you is it ignorance in understanding investigations that we have 40 plus unsolved murders, or is it a lack of resources, which, my gosh, looking at the budget and everything that has been asked for since really the 1990s has been given? And then secondly to that, what will a Sheriff Woodward's administration do? Is there anything you can do different to work these cold cases, these unsolved murders, and let these people finally, them and their families, finally rest?
Yes, Mike, we definitely, these victims, they need closure. We had 14 homicides in 2024. Unacceptable. Wow. And, what are we doing? Well, I can tell you what JoJo Woodward and his crew is going to be doing. We are going to have a cold case committee, and we're going to have people who really want to work those cases to bring closures. I mean, very unacceptable. I talk to folks all the time about, unsolved homicides, whether it's in Jasper County or Beaufort County. And, it's a shame that, it takes a lot of resources. But again, that's going out into the community. That is talking to other people who have cold cases, us all coming to the table and trying to solve these cases. So, but we are going to have a cold case committee.
Awesome. And I think to like go along with that, isn't the number in Beaufort County like 7 out of 10 crimes like never get punished, never get completed? It's just out there in Fugazi land. I mean, 7 out of 10, 70%. I'm embarrassed. And I'm not an officer.
Hey, one thing we're going to do, Mike, is a mandatory case review. And a supervisor is going to have to sign off on it. It's not to be closed out because I got other stuff to do. They're going to have to give these victims some relief. They got to know that we cared about what happened to them.
How is your relationship with the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office? That's a key piece. People don't realize that. If the sheriff's office or police department or whatever and the solicitor, have a tete going on, that's not friendly. That's not friendly at all. How is your relationship with Solicitor Stone?
Well, I can tell you back when after I ran in 2018, I went to work for Duffy Stone at the solicitor's office. He put me on the career criminal unit and an integrity unit. I learned a lot from Duffy Stone and Sean Thornton. Those guys are great to work with. Okay, they're really passionate about what they do. They want bad guys in jail and prison just as bad as I do. And I've always had a good relationship with them, and I'm planning on always having a good relationship, maybe even better than when I'm going to be the sheriff. Mm-hmm. But working for them, I mean, it was good. Our relationship's really good, solid.
We're coming close to the end of our time. I want to talk about budgets. The sheriff's office is the county's largest budget aside budget item, aside from the school district. This year, the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office has requests in for something like, and I'm actually going to be talking to our next guest about budgets, but it's like 10% ish, if not maybe a little bit more, increase rather year over year. But as I said a minute ago, we've got 40 unsolved murders. We got 70% of the crimes go unpunished. This don't add up, sir. When I was on county council, I asked the sheriff's office, the CFO, straight to her face. I wanted a direct copy of their financial statements. He's got a CFO. We appropriate the money. I want to see your financial statements. And that went over, excuse my French, but like a fart in church. That's how that request went over. I think the comment was, and I'm going to paraphrase a direct quote, was, "Who do you think you are in asking to see the books?" Talk about the financial department of a Sheriff Woodward administration and how that will be built on honesty, integrity, transparency, and accountability.
$36 million or more, right, Mike?
Yep.
doesn't everyone deserve to know exactly how much and how we're spending their money? I mean, it's their money. It's not ours. We're going to be transparent. We're going to do an annual report, line item, plain language that people will understand. Oh, this is what we spend on fuels and lubricant. This is what we spend on salaries. This is what we spend on mail. I mean, line item stuff. Be glad to show the world because it's your money and you deserve that.
Love to hear that. Getting back to issues that affect and this was asked to me by one of the listeners. Even though the current sheriff's office does not seem to subscribe to this, apparently, but there really is. We talked about a drug problem, that it really is a serious drug problem. Is there a difference between the drug problem in the southern part of the county and a drug problem in the northern part of the county, where we have two different bigger cities of influence? We have completely two different ways of life, that's great. That's awesome. But are the drug problems different, and are they handled, or should they be handled differently?
That's a yes or no. I mean, yes, there's different types of drugs being dealt and used in northern Beaver County than in southern Beaver County. But the bottom line is the officers, they work the same type. I mean, whether you're north or south, you got to handle those cases, Mike. Is each one of them has their own kind, but bottom line is I don't think it matters to me as a multi-issue drug task force. We went out and combated the crime. We didn't care if it was north or south. We chased them drugs no matter if it was local, state, or actually international cases.
Yeah. One last thing. For as long as I can remember, there's been 40 to 45 vacancies in the sheriff's department. Road deputies kind of vacancies. It's been that way since the late 1990s, early 2000s when I got involved in politics. During my term, it was always like 40 some odd. They just couldn't crack that nut. All of a sudden, your opponent said there's only 15 or 14 or 12 vacancies. I've seen the books, but can you tell the folks, what is what number are we shy where we should be with deputies out there protecting and serving? What is the real number that we're shy?
Mike, that's a good question that no one really knows but them. But I would say it's got to be somewhere in the 15 to 25. And I know it's a big number, but bottom line is we're going to work on it day one, retaining our officers, making them feel like they have a path to be able to lead this county. There's people that's been here a long time that's been waiting for this moment. Yeah. And I'm going to make that happen for them.
I think it's outstanding, ladies and gentlemen. JoJo Woodward, he's running for the GOP nomination here in the primary. Early voting starts on the 26th, I believe it is. And then the primary day is June 9th. Anything, last thing you'd like to say to, gosh, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. We may be over, we are, including the radio station. We are over, actually, we're over 2,300, almost 2,400 people watching you and listening to you right now. Anything you want to say to them?
Absolutely. I want to thank the listeners tonight, and I want to thank the voters. I will need them to get out on June 9th. But I want to close by saying, you know what? I've been living in this low country all my life. I'm married to my wife, Tracy, for 38 years. I got 4 kids, grown kids, successful kids, 10 grandkids. We're not going anywhere. We're in bed. This is where we live. And you know what? I'm going to make sure that they're safe, and I'm going to make sure everybody in Beaver County is safe. And I thank y'all for your time. Just remember, June 9th is primary. We need your vote. Go for Woodward for sheriff.
I don't usually in primaries, I wait till like the very end and start saying who, this station has got their support behind. But only a couple have I come out, and you are one of them. I'm telling folks right now, if you want to see a difference, you want to see change, you want to see accountability, you want to see a sheriff with a handgun and not a 5-wood, JoJo Woodward is your man. Thank you so much, Sheriff, for being on.
Mike, thank you, man. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Anytime, every time. And I look forward to talking with you on election night.
Perfect.
All right.
See you then, man.
Woodward, everybody. Thanks a lot. All right, we're gonna get right into our next guest. He's back there in the room, in the green room. I tell you, JoJo Woodward is what you just saw, what you just heard. That is the real JoJo Woodward. You don't get this, behind the microphone you've got one thing, and then alone you've got another. It's all above board. I consider him a friend. I've known him a long time. I trust his judgment. I trust what he's doing. There is no way I would recommend voting anywhere other than him. We had a bunch of folks ask some questions that I couldn't get to. Chris Wilson, you have got some great questions. I will get those answered. If you will send those, let me show you. If you'll send those right here to me at bigpatriotradio@gmail.com, bigpatriotradio@gmail.com, I will make sure that you get those answers. That's important. And your questions are there's some very good ones that I couldn't get to. The thing about the dispatch, having been in that business somewhat, I know the trunked systems. There is a legal thing there, but it's possible. I think that there are delays. I know in Savannah we used a 15-minute delay. Savannah PD now is not trunking or is not sending out their data anymore. They stopped it. Only Chatham Fire. So. Bluffton Fire and Rescue, which includes Hilton Head and the city of Beaufort. That still is happening. But anyway, another whole story. Love to talk about it. Please send that to us. Right now, we're going to get to our next guest. Let me get a drink here. Our next guest is he really doesn't need any introduction. He is a friend of the show. We support him 250% in his election for county council, re-election for county council. I met this guy at a county GOP event. I guess it's 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it is. He gave us. I gave a stump speech. He gave a stump speech. I waited for him, and he came by and I said, you don't know what you're doing. But there's something about you. I don't know what it is, but let me help you because I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I believe in what you're doing, and we need you. Anyway, 4 years later, he's running for re-election. He is known as the most. I don't really know the right way to put this, but when you think of elected officials who are there for the right reason, which is the taxpayer, Tom Reitz's name always comes up. Please join me in welcoming Tom Reitz to the show. Councilman.
How are you, sir?
If I was doing any better, my name would be Tom Reitz.
Well, listen, hang on there a second.
You got some new glasses there, Chief?
Yeah, well, I've had them a while. I think the hair maybe get a little grayer. But,
look at you. Madison and Chris are dressing you up a little bit now.
Just a little bit. You know it. Thanks for that nice introduction.
That's all true.
I remember it vividly, and you were a gentleman.
Well, like I said then, I've said it ever since. I knew, there was something there. We need to get you in office, and we got you there. Now we got to send you back there.
That'd be nice.
Let's jump into it. One thing, and for those of you who don't know, and feel free, whether you live in St. Helena or Sea Pines. Hold on one second here. We got a question. Chris, so is Seifert for sheriff going to come on? If he should, if he won't even enter, blah, blah, blah. I'm with you. So let me address this right quick. Chris, we were going to have a forum and we moved the times around, the days around, the places around for both candidates multiple times. They both confirmed it. Seifert backed out. Whether he thinks I'm biased towards JoJo Woodward or not, I think his reasons are unfounded. I can tell you that. He is wrong in both of his reasons. Being told that he didn't get the memo, his calendar lady is what it is. Will he come on the show? I don't know. He has never responded to a phone call, an email, a text. I'm getting ready to send my dog out and a carrier pigeon. Maybe he'll answer to that. A lot of his team members have, and it's usually derogatory. But, you know, that is what it is. End of the hour, though, Tom Reitz. Sorry about that, but I had to get that answer. And I hope I have questions for you, because you know what? One of the probably, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the biggest feather, if you've got a cap and you got feathers in them, the biggest feather is you led the charge to get stormwater fixed in the south end of the island that had been a canker sore, an Achilles heel, a hindrance, an issue, and nobody, and I'm talking Stu Rodman before you and anybody, I didn't remember who was before him, didn't do anything about it. You fixed it. It took you 4 years, 3 years, whatever, and you made it happen. That's incredible, dude. That is incredible.
Quick comment is, you said something on the introduction about how I didn't know what I was doing. When that
tongue in cheek, you know that.
Well, what I'm saying is that I think that helped me in this endeavor, because that August 24 Storm Debbie, that knocked us for a loop. I didn't have any experience whatsoever to address people in a situation of that nature. We learned a lot together, but one of the things I knew I had to do from day one was stay with the people. I mean, somebody asked me a couple months ago, when are you going to start your campaign for re-election? And I thought about it and quickly said, I don't think I've ever stopped. Not that I don't campaign constantly, but I'm with the people all the time. Yeah. So to me, it was a natural progression, get the information, be with the people. What we've done since August of 24, for what the county needed to know, which we did not know, that we own certain roads and assets on Hilton Head, the work in combination with the town, other communities, Bay Pines, Tide Point, Cedar Woods, Point Comfort, Old Woodlands, Oak Marsh, Bradley Circle. These came in after we put our stake in the ground at Bay Pines, because they heard there might be something taking place that hadn't taken place forever. And to me, I don't think it's a big deal. It's Basics 101. We show up, we listen, and we take care of business. We got some great people that work at this county, engineers. Yeah.
Well, the fix, getting that fixed, that was unbelievable, because it had been around so long, and most people just looked the other way because it was a problem. And I remember being down there when I was on council, looking at it, and I don't know, it wasn't my area. I didn't know how to fix it. You fixed it. What? You're into this campaign.
Yeah.
You've got. I want to focus more on why you are the best choice, not why your opponent even exists, because nobody can figure this out. I mean, I don't know what anybody would do. Well, I don't know what anybody would do different, but nobody's heard what she would do different. I mean, is something different? Is there a special sauce that you didn't know about? Today I read that Steve Alfred from the town of Hilton Head wrote this elaborate embellishment of, and I do that because that's what it felt like when I was reading it, of supporting your opponent, but it made absolutely no sense. What needs to change, Tom? What are you doing wrong?
Let me start by simply saying, these last 3.5 years, it's only been 3.5 years, it is a complete honor and a privilege to work with and for these people. I'm one of them. So to me, we just get together. We know each other. The difference between me and my opponent, I have no idea. I don't know her. She came to a council chat unannounced, and I didn't know who it was, never been to a chat. I saw her there, said hello, gave her my card saying, hey, you're in Sea Pines, I'm your guy, 2 days later, she signed up. That to me doesn't matter. Staying with the people, getting the projects done. I'm 100% accessible. I mean, I don't care what it is. Have I gotten back to everybody? No, it's a challenge. There's a ton of things going on, but I actually love what I'm doing. The people relate to me. We relate, and we get a lot done. We're going to go over a few things tonight that are first in this county.
Go for it. You go ahead.
Listen, just having a council and a group of people that are coming together like we are. We had something at Nolles a week or so ago. We had 86 people there, and many couldn't make it. Logan Cunningham broke an engagement in Charleston to come into Nolles, spend the entire night with us. You were there, and he introduced me, and he talked about things that we're doing. And one thing he didn't say, and one thing we'll say tonight, is that your tax bill. First time in county's history, people can look at their tax bill and see everything's itemized. The first council that has never upzoned. Upzoning is taking a 30-acre piece of property in Cherry Point, if you will, that will take 24 single-family homes and upzoning it to 440. This is the only council. I didn't know this until I was told this about 7-8 months ago. I don't even know, but this is how this council is coming together. We, with this green space, in the last year and a half, I think we're close to 14,000 acres of protected property in Beaufort, with a little bit on that Jasper water area. 14,000 acres of protected property that's not going to ever be built on. With the first thing I ever did was work with a couple of council members on the town, a family member, representative, and we picked up 26 acres in Mitchellville. I called it Mitchellville 26. That was the first ever introduced to the green space, second property approved. And that started the ball. Hilton Head right now has about 43, 48 acres of protected property, more on the way. It's just, we're coming together. We're working together with the town like we've never done before. And I see it as many of us don't have the egos, whatever the ego is. We all live together. It's 12 miles. We should have had a stormwater division, island-wide master plan years ago. I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad the people that I work for are here, because we get together, we get along, and we're getting this stuff done. So it's just a beautiful thing.
Speaking of the green space, now in your district, you've got one of those districts where if there's an open spot, Katie, bar the door. Is there any? Is there any property that's left that could be, conserved under green space in the 11th district?
There are some pieces being looked at right now. I think about 12 acres, and I'll get you that. But there's at least that right now. But take a look at what we just have completed here. Not completed, but focused on. The southern end, Beaufort Memorial is putting in an urgent emergency care. Mid-Island, the town, working with Novant, is putting another medical. Think about the incredible progress we've made to have two facilities that are going to be state-of-the-art. Southern end, never had it before. We do now with Beaufort Memorial, and that's going well. That work is really, that construction is going well. And have it at the Mid-Island, that the travel time is going to be unbelievable to get people to these places. So, and the service is just going to be amazing.
And those aren't full-fledged hospitals, but they're emergency clinics. Is that right? Is that what they're called?
Yes, sir. The Beaufort Memorial is an urgent, emergency urgent care. You can walk in, get taken in, and then they're going to be such good at crafting where whatever situation they have to, whether it's a broken leg or a sunburn, whatever it may be, they'll take care of it and get it to where it needs to be.
So when you look at the core functions of government, which is, really an elected official, that's kind of like, you need to always keep that over here on your shoulder. Okay, is this a core function of government? at this level, I mean, that's providing the means necessary for health and human services for a growing population. Not to mention in the summertime, I mean, it triples at least something?
At least, maybe more. At least more. Just what, 1 million in that Heritage Week?
Yeah. So I mean,
in and out. Yes.
I'm kind of putting the ingredients out here. You know, you're saving the green spaces. You know,
Yes, sir.
Water. You know, getting rid of stormwater. That's huge. That's health is health, property.
Yes.
I mean, name it all. And now this two Beaver Memorial and Devant adding a place on the island. This is all for the people. I mean, this is like the Tom Reitz move. It's for the people.
There's something clicking with this council, with the municipalities, Bluffton and Hilton Head and others. The people are listening more. We're coming together more. So all these things that have gotten done in the last, I'd say 2.5 years, that first year on council, I mean, you're swimming. You don't know what ends up. You don't know who to believe. You don't know who to trust. I mean, it was a quagmire for every one of us, but we've come together, and the common theme is listening and understanding. And if you're 100% accessible and you work together with your colleagues, these are the type of things that can happen. Believe it or not, I think the bridge issue, which we should talk about, let's get it out. I think it was 18 years in the making, roughly. Somebody else can tell us. This council said, we are going to get our tails beat, but we're going to address it. We're going to move it forward. We're going to get the money appropriated for it. We're going to get the state to do their thing. We did that. And yes, we're getting hammered because things are happening. We're going to do our best to keep it a very charming, unique entrance to our beautiful place. Everybody knows that feeling they get. We don't want to take it away. We will not take it away. But it's this council that said, you know what? We're going to take the hits, but we're going to get it done. That's being done. The other one, St. James. St. James, probably for 14 years, was an absolute football that didn't go anywhere. This council got together. We had some guidance from Washington, D.C., but we are the ones that are actually getting that done. The property down Union Cemetery is done. The town, through the efforts of Mark Orlando and our work together, Jarrett Freilich, unbelievable work. That is all in the making, and I don't want to say on the 25, 30-yard line getting ready to punch it in, but that's pretty good. We're in very good shape there.
Those are exceptional. And I mean, coming from someone who I was involved in all that in my term, and you finally got it done. So, I mean, hats off to you all. But, the thing is, you had to work with, and you have an interesting, you're one of only like maybe 3 or 4, 5 council members that have nowhere in your district is really your jurisdiction. It's all town jurisdiction. So that's strange. It's kind of a strange relationship. Like with mine, I mean, part of mine was under my jurisdiction. Part of mine, even though it was under mine, it was still in the town of Bluffton. So where I'm going with that is the relationship, and I don't know who is do y'all have wards? Is that how it is over on the Hilton Head?
Hilton Head, there are wards, and the county were districts, correct?
Right. So what ward is Sea Pines?
Well, Steve Alfred is Sea Pines. Tim Becker is that Bradley Circle area, and Steve DeSimone, believe it or not, is at the Bay Pines area over that way. So there's 3 wards in my district.
Okay. So
yes,
I don't understand if the relationships are going that well. Obviously, Steve Alfred has made his thing known. I mean, I don't understand that. I've reached out to Tamara Becker dozens and dozens and dozens of times. Same thing as JoJo asked me about, or somebody else asked me about, the sheriff. I've reached out, carrier pigeon. I'm getting ready to send my dog over to Tamara's house.
Yes, sir.
Are you supporting Tommy or not? I mean, what's going on? If the relationship is going that well, why are they not supporting you when, I mean, you've got win after win after win after win?
Let me start with Steve Alford. That was a shock to me. Not a shock, but somebody read to me some of the things he said. He's coming across trying to say, that I'm dumb or something like that, or I don't even know. I actually think he's helping me. And I don't tell anybody that, but I think he's helping me because people live here.
Anybody that?
They see this, they see what's going on. They see that there is great, camaraderie. And if you read his letter, I mean, I hope people take it and frame it because it's actual going to say, and I don't mean to say this, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but has he been asleep for 3.5 years?
That was I said that today.
I don't know.
This is coming from the guy who I thought was always asleep. I mean,
I don't know.
And again,
I don't mind it. I actually, the more these people talk, the more dissent like that, I think will get people in it. We look forward to, I think we expect a lot more to come. And I'm nobody. I have nobody's helping me from the state, from senators, from Congress. Nobody's helping. That's okay. Yeah. My thing is I stick with the people and we're getting the job done because the people are being listened to.
You know what I told somebody that just the other night at another event, you came up and they said, you know this Reitz guy pretty well. I was like, yeah, I know him pretty well. Well, what do you think about him? I was like, well, he's short. Well, no, what do you really think about him? I said, well, I'll tell you this. I don't know if he can fix a sore gum or fix a cavity. But he fixed stormwater. He fixed stormwater. I said, now I know he obviously he can brush his teeth, maybe not as well as some, but gosh darn it, he can fix stormwater. That says, those kind of things. You're right, and I need to give you credit for that because when they throw, and I think we talked about this several years ago, they're going to throw darts, and those darts are going to turn into knives, and those knives are going to turn into spears. And the more they do it, the more they look like fools because you are laying up win after win after win for the people of the town of Hilton Head Island, District 11.
Mike, think about this for half a minute. I am not throwing up win after win, and I appreciate what you're saying. It goes back to what you said when you started the show. You saw me. I fell down in that speech. They gave me 5 minutes. I took 30 seconds. I didn't know what to say. You saw something, and what I do my entire life, not just that moment, but my entire life is aligning with people that care about what we have, that really value this golden goose called Hilton Head Island, Beaufort County. There's tons of people that were waiting for honesty, integrity, and somebody that had a little humility and said, I came in, I didn't know what I was doing. I said, I need your help. I said, if you get me elected, not only you, but others, you got to stay with me because I don't know what I'm doing. And if you think about it, one of the things that somebody read to me, 7, 8 people call me today. Let me read this to you, what Steve Alford said. Something about he's asked my opponent to read the agenda better or read the agenda or something. And the only thing I want to say is if somebody can go back to that group and say, what didn't I read? And if I can learn something, I'll learn it. But go to the resolutions and the ordinance, the laws that we make, that we put on the books, that we actually are in session and live. Go back to those recordings and go to my votes and tell me where I didn't read anything or I didn't know what I was voting for. There have been a couple of times a colleague of mine snookered me and did some backdoor dealing, and we took care of that business pretty quickly. And I got hurt. Some people in our community got hurt because of those maneuvers, but the people are watching and they helped me take care of that. And I think they're going to help this election take care of this nonsense as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
So tell me about the budget. Where I know there's some documents I want to take a look at, and you all are looking at, and the budget's the final reading and stuff is coming up here in another month or so. Taxpayers, the main thing they want to know is my tax bill going up? I can finally read it, and thank you to all of you who got that through.
That's team effort.
Read it. But are my taxes going up? Have you been able to surmise that yet? Or are you, and now people need to know that you all don't figure the budget. You don't come up with the budget. The CFO comes up with that, working with staff, and that it's a process like a business. Well, the CFO is gone. They let go in the middle at the very end. I mean, they're ready to cross the goal line, and the CFO is gone. That throws up a huge red flag about the budget. Last week, I don't know who it was. I can't remember, but somebody was up trying to read part of it or part of the documentation, and they did.
Mike,
it was bad. It was bad.
I was there.
What in the hell is going on?
What you just asked has a number of moving parts. Let me back up to your other question. Just finish the part B of that. Councilwoman Becker, we have. I was called into Bradley Circle, Sandy Beach Trail, early on after Bay Pines and Tide Point and Cedar Woods and all, and we learned that those people had been suffering neglect as well and not getting anything done. And I'm going to tell you right now, we've gotten so many things done. We're going to replace culverts or assets there throughout, including, I think, Miss Becker's as well, I'm pretty sure. So a lot of things. So I think we're working well together. I think as council people, they shouldn't come out unless they really think, they want to. But a lot of stuff is getting done. With that said, whether it's Bay Pines, those people are still critically upset with us as a county because for so many years of neglect and it's taking so long. We've gotten a lot of good things done. We've put in hundreds of thousands to the millions in there, and we have more to do. You take a look at Bradley Circle. There are families there that I can deal with, and I'd love to say some of their names here because I know them, I'm getting to know them. But even before this heavy tourist season, they get sometimes where the pressure in their water they can't wash their dishes the proper way. A shower is horrible. So I know there's a lot of people watching this tonight, and if it's Frank Turano with the PSD, people that are involved with water pressure, this area, Bradley Circle, Terabella, and Sandy Beach Trail, they have tremendously poor water pressure. So somebody come and help us out there. We need that desperately, I believe, at times. So again, you call all joy. You look at any area. Stormwater is our number one. You talked about what a government does. Safety, right? The president, protect Americans, local level. When you're on an island and you're on an island surrounded by water, it's 100%. Priority number one is stormwater drainage, period. That should be in our DNA every day of the week. Let's get to the budget. A lot going on. I'm going to give you, let's take the elephant in the room, in everybody's room right now watching. This council person, and I believe others, were as shocked as you all when we heard what happened to Pinky. It was sprung on us, and as we sit here, we are going back to an executive session on Monday, prior to caucus for the regular meeting we have at 6. And we are going to dice up and take care of business with this whole Pinky thing and the letting her go firing. I don't even know right now. So again, that is a massively moving part. As far as the budget, we are going to be the next part of the meeting is us getting together and going through all the submissions from the outside agencies. They did a great job, all of them, and make sure the appropriations are appropriate wherever the money's going. We focus, a lot of us here, thank God we have an island rec. Right. Frank Soul, who's now retired, still involved. Leah is taking over, and she's doing a wonderful job. And the things that some of us council members are trying to impress on the entire council body is that this island rec does an awful lot, not only on the island, but over, and they provide many scholarships to families on the island and over that can't afford them. So it is my plea and my desperate plea that my colleagues come together and we give them what they wanted and somehow finagle the budget in the proper way. to where we can get that money. And again, Island Rec and that whole entire group,
always been an issue.
Lord, I'm telling you,
But when it comes to the budget, with Ms. Harriet not there, obviously the person who was there last week isn't the one to deliver it. The finance director, she's got a troubled past from what I am being told, and articles been sent to me. Who's going to deliver that understands, it's more than just, one apple, and one apple doesn't equal an orange. I just see a big pothole. How do you get around that pothole?
I wish that I can spin something for you right now and say that we got this covered. I think all of us said Pinky did a phenomenal job, keeping not only us, but keeping all the players, all the stakeholders on the same page, doing some good things. And again, as I tell you, and my other colleagues will tell you the same, right behind me. I see it. This is a makeshift.
This is live, buddy.
It's a war room, son.
I like live.
My word! It's like,
I like
my wife Chris would hit me right now, but anyway, we're going to get it straightened out. You have some good leaders on council. I got to say this about Logan Cunningham. He is one of the nucleus getting things done, and I want him to do well with what he wants to do. And I don't want to sound selfish, but if he stays on council with us,
it won't hurt your feelings.
You won't hurt my. And again, Logan, if you're listening, I say this with due respect. We've come together over the last few years in ways that it shocked me, because I didn't think we were going to get along well early on, but
he gets it.
The majority of us do, and you're a leader. And we appreciate that. And I think he's going to, unfortunately, I think he's going to do very well in his CD1 race. I really do. I think he's going to shake things up.
Let's talk about, so the budget delivery process is still out in the open left field somewhere. Yes, another big thing people in the community are talking about is, are they going to put another 1% sales tax referendum for transportation on the ballot in November? Is that coming?
You're going to listen to this. I'm proud of what we did as a council. Think about this for a minute. For the first time in my 3.5 years, and maybe in your tenure and others, council members listening to this, we had 15 people. Each council member appointed somebody, and I appointed Jen Erickson, who is a superstar. Looks at everything. And just unbelievable. She cares about what's going to take place, and she put that effort into this. So looking at what these people did, this 15 council member, they're going to they presented to council. We're going to go over a few things. And your question is is the council going to vote to put the 1% on a referendum on the ballot? I got to tell you right now, the people are speaking to us as you and I sit here right now. We're being emailed. People are calling us saying what they want with that, because a lot of people, believe it or not, they watched these TAC meetings, TAC. They watched them, and we got feedback. And there was some trouble, there was some confusion throughout some of the meetings. They got the people pushed back, and they got the answers. Listen, this humble councilman. By the way, I'm number 11. I'm Councilman 11, Hilton Head Island, southern end to mid and all. I'm the furthest one. I travel furthest. I go over all these beautiful bridges, and they give me they charge up my batteries, by the way, when I travel. But we have roads that are, and Mike, you know it where you are, that need help. And I was at one of my little things. I had a meet and greet, and I think it was last night. These fees that we get, these impact fees, we messed up here for years, not collected the proper impact fees. Here we are trying to catch up. And again, I still say, I think, we're in a pretty good position. We have 140 some odd thousand, I believe, from the 2018 referendum. We have a plan for that now. This tax. We're going to be told what to do, and it's going to be clear as a bell. Put it on a referendum or not, and we're going to know that. And I think a lot of people see that these roads are in very bad shape.
So let's go back now. Obviously, and folks, you may not know this, but a council person cannot advocate for or against you in voting. So if you were to ask Councilman Reitz, should I vote for the the sales tax or not? By law, he and the other 10 cannot tell you, yes, you should, no, you shouldn't, nor can they go out there and advertise that you should or shouldn't. One thing, Councilman, that I still to this day, this very day, I hear, Mike, have they got all of the 2018 done? And the answer is no, they have not.
No, sir. No, sir.
How? Then they say, well, how can I trust them with another, they say penny, but it's really 1%. And that's a fair question. That is a fair question. And how do you answer that?
I think I travel all over the place, and I meet constantly with the people in this district, and it's loud and clear where they're coming in, what they're saying. And it's easy for some people to say, oh, forget about the 2018 referendum. They know they have to, the council knows they have to do it, but it was something that it's just a very sore subject to many. I take this stormwater thing that we're doing. There was many years, generations where nothing was spent. I mean, stormwater fees are separate line item taxes for the people that were just put in this thing. And back in May, June, July of 25, there's, I think, 20 million in there. And I have the chart, the Excel. We started using that appropriately. And it's an act of Congress. You heard that before, right, Mike? It was an act of Congress. I mean, it's taken me 7 months now. And with stormwater, now I'm going to have a dashboard, if you will, or a portal where anybody on the island can dial in, whether you're on vacation, you're in the hospital, you're visiting your Aunt Sally, it doesn't matter. You could dial in and find out where projects are in Bradley Circle, Old Woodlands, Oak Marsh. I mean, anywhere, Bay Pines, you can find out where it is. And I encourage people to take a look at what we've accomplished already in the Bay Pines, Tide Point, Cedar Woods area. That whole entire trench is done. The fence is back up between blocking out Tide Point to Bay Pines, which was a problem and a lot of work to get done. It's done now. There's more work that's going to be done on the fence. And I'm telling you, I can't stress enough to you, the people, whether it's Bradley Circle or Bay Pines or Point Comfort Club or Old Woodlands, they are upset still with us because they had to live with our nonsense and not answering them for years. But I'm telling you right now, as I told some people today, they were asking me, why should we vote for you? You're not getting the work done quick or whatever it may be. I say, I'm telling you now, I'm getting it done, and we're going to, I'm not going anywhere because Chris and I and our kids, we love it here. We want to help. So you're stuck with me. And I want to represent.
Nothing happens quick. If anybody was to say, I can get it done faster, that is the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard.
Please go. Listen, hold us accountable. And I say this, if you hold us accountable, right now, we have managers and we have engineers going to these neighborhoods on a regular basis. That's never been done. And I'm talking constantly. I saw an email from one of my colleagues on the staff today, getting back into Bay Pines on the 28th. And this, I'm telling you right now, it's a common occurrence now. So yes, I ask my people that I represent, stay pissed off, stay edgy. Don't let us out of your sight. Hold us accountable, but we will get this done. And, listen, as much as we've done, we have a lot more to do, and we got to prove ourselves. So I will say, and I don't we got some good people in this county that are just going to keep with us and help us.
So you also have, what I consider, you got a couple wins. You are the liaison to the airport board, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
So there's been some major wins for the Beaufort County Airport Commission, aka Hilton Head International Airport. Things have changed there for the better, and you've been right there getting some real quickly. Some of the things that are getting done and have been done and are going to get done.
Mike, let me say this. If I said John Rembold, Rocio, Steve Perry, and this airport board that I'm on the board, I'm a liaison. It's phenomenal what they've done. If you walk into that airport today, you're going to say phase one. If you're walking in, phase one is to the right. That is completely open operation. You're going to go in and say, my God, it's gorgeous. But at the same time, you're going to say, they have kept the charm of this incredible island. This woman, this artist, Kincaid, I think her last name is, and I should know it. I think I should have had it written down here, but I think it's Kincaid. She put together a glass mural that's getting from the TSA or going through the checkpoint to the 3 terminals that are all bridge covered now. It's all covered and they're beautiful, quaint, not too big. And it's this great herring that is flying toward the lighthouse. And it's something, I was with Mr. Birdwell, head of the Sea Pines group, and we're talking. And I just said to him and John Rembold one day, I said, please, I don't care what you do, get the lighthouse somehow into that airport. That is our landmark. Well, this Kincaid blew my mind. If you go in there and see what's going on there, it's just beautiful. So these people, I don't care if you're in Hilton Head Plantation or you're in Sea Pines, this 12 miles, they're going to be proud of this airport. And it's quaint. Phase 2 is already starting to work on in a sense of trying to get money. I think that's a $40 million ask. But again, this board, John Rembold, Rocio, by the way, she's a shining star. She's a rock star that keeps them all together. Keeps us all chugging in the right area. So if you ever see Rocio, give her a little shout out. And I have to say this too. Melinda Tunner was just, I think, elected a year or two ago. I don't even know. She has become a major force in understanding and navigating through. I go to these board meetings and, I add a little bit here and there. This Melinda Tunner, she's a sharp cookie. She's a financially backed, that was her thing. And I'm telling you right now, this town is lucky to have her. And I think this county is lucky to have her because she's keeping an eye on things. There's a couple of issues in her ward that she's working on, some build outs and all that she's really taking a good look at and making sure it's done properly or whatever. So, but again, what a great addition to that council.
We're coming close to the end of our time here, Councilman. Real fast, the bridge. When are we going to start seeing something?
Yes, sir.
Screwdrivers or something.
Things are going to happen because Washington said either you do it or we take over. Period. That's a good little fire starter, right?
Washington said that or Columbia?
Miss Griffiths flew in from Washington. She flew into the airport and we met at the historic school. We had a little local custom food, beautiful. And when we got done with the niceties, she heard some things and then she said, hey, get your act together. Take care of business. So to your point, Jared's talking shovel to ground second quarter 28.
28?
Yes, sir. Well, they're doing all the environmental stuff, all this. And at the same time,
I thought all that was already done.
Mike, I know that.
I know the EA was done because I talked to some folks about it.
Well, earliest it's going to be is shovel to ground is going to be that second quarter 28. And I don't know if anything's changed. We'll hear it. But at the same time, back in August, by August 31st, this county had to provide a grant form application to get, I think, $388 million. I don't know what number it was, a big number. And they would do the whole bridge at that point. So as we sit here, former councilman, we have not heard yet that I know of, unless we hear Tuesday after the holiday, if we were awarded that grant. Now, again, we're going forward no matter what with that Mackey expansion. But again, I think it's second quarter 28.
Maybe by the time they get that thing done, if I'm still around, me and you will probably be on the porch at Tide Point, just rocking back and forth.
Oh Lord, you listen. I hope maybe I get a 2 or 3% discount by the time in about 30 years when I retire from this beautiful stuff to get over to Tide Point. Listen to the people that are listening, and I know there's thousands, and I know people are going to look at this. I appreciate the last 3.5 years, well, many years getting to know you, but the last 3.5 years working for you. I would love to have your vote. I'd love another 4 years to keep doing what we're doing. If you like what we've accomplished in these 3.5 years, help me do more. If you stay with us, you hold us accountable, we've got to work for you, and I love that. So, Mike, always appreciate your time.
Man, I appreciate you. What do you have coming up? So you only got a few, not a whole lot of time left. Meet and greet every day and stuff like that, or where can people get a hold of you?
Listen, Tom at tomhhi.com. You can get me at any time. You have my numbers. I answer them. Sometimes I'm up at 3 a.m. I'll answer. I think we've done a lot of the meet and greets. I think we had a team of people that were just so excited to go. We did some, Chris says don't say pub crawl, but we did some Tommy on the Town, I think they called it. Yeah. But we had a couple of beers with it. It was so much fun. We met a lot of people. People took our koozies and stuff like that. Again, Tuesday, by the way, you know what Tuesday is? May 26th.
It's my mother's birthday.
Your mother's birthday. Hey,
yeah.
Let's make it a great day. Start of voting. Early voting is May 26th. Then the primary is June 9th.
Yeah.
And Mike,
you got a big party that night?
Oh Lord, I think we're going to do a watch party. Absolutely. Lord. And we're going to be excited. But if you hear of anything about other people endorsing anybody, let us know.
Well, you're going to get one here in another day or so. You should have the written version. I just happen to know somebody's fixing to endorse you. So.
Oh my word. Listen, oh my God. We've got some people right now that send us some endorsements that, unbelievable. Community people, family people, been here for years, neighborhood people. Again, I'm excited. I think we're going to have a rocking primary.
Oh yeah.
And
we're gonna have a live show as we always do that night. So
let's get together then. We can do that.
We're doing it a little bit different, where all the candidates will have a link to be able to come in and out of the show as you want to.
Yes, sir.
But we've got some folks that are watching that have said a few things. Chris Wilson says an airport contributes an astounding amount of GDP to whatever community it's in. Worked at Nantucket, second busiest airport in New England in the summer. Without that airport, Nantucket would have remained in the days after whaling.
Nice.
Sorry?
Nice. Chris Wilson, I don't know you, but listen, take a trip to this beautiful airport, Beach City Road. I'm telling you now, you're going to be impressed with what these folks did.
My friend Catherine Donaldson, she just jumped on. Hate that she missed JoJo. Hilton Head Airport looks fabulous now. Love flying in and out of there.
Perfect.
She says 2028 sounds good. Give the I-95 project some time. There you go.
Okay. Good.
She also said, "Good luck to you, my friend." She will tell her Hilton Head friends to vote for you.
Miss Donaldson, this humble councilman thanks you. I appreciate that very much.
She's great. She's a realtor based out of Bluffton, but I mean, she sells.
Nice.
I think she sells everywhere.
Oh my word! Listen, that I can't.
I got corrected on something. You're going to appreciate this. We can't afford Tide Point.
Oh, Mr. Risa, listen, I hear you. Listen. I can't either. I know what you
moment there. I'll come visit you on the porches of Tide Point. How about that?
Beautiful place. It's a beautiful place.
I don't have REITs money, so I
I don't. Listen, I don't know. Is there any? Did we cover everything? Again, we are.
You, buddy. It's your campaign.
It's the couple days before. I just want to say that it's been an honor. I love doing this, and the people, they're excited. Think about all these different things, events we had. People come there, and they don't have to. You know what I'm saying? And They love what we're doing.
The other sign just
Keeping it real.
the other sign just
Listen,
holy cow.
you know what?
Hey, live TV, man.
Teresa, thanks for pointing that out. I owe you big time.
Hey,
Look at that, will you please?
Tommy Reitz for County Council District 11. Folks, when early voting, if that's your thing, get out there and vote early. Hey, the guy may not be able to fix your molar, but I tell you what, he can fix your stormwater.
God bless you guys.
Love you, brother. We'll
Love
talk
you.
to you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you.
All right, Tom Reitz for County Council.
God bless you.
Turn up the radio.
Bringing you the best selection of hits for your listening pleasure.
Yeah, so let's get into it.
BigPatriotRadio.com.
All right, that is going to do it. Gosh, what a great guest. We had Tom Reitz. Well, first we, JoJo Woodward on for sheriff. The GOP nomination for sheriff. There is one Democrat that the Republican getting late. The Republican nominee will take on in November, but we got to get there first. JoJo Woodward on. I super appreciate him coming on and all of your questions. And don't forget, Chris, to please send those to me, and I'll make sure your answers, get to you. Tom Reitz coming on and giving us. Thank you, honey. I appreciate that. I couldn't do it without you. When it comes to county council members, all of them, I applaud them all for sticking their hand up and their neck out, doing that work. But Tom is, I really appreciate Tom. He is there for the people. I think next year is going to be interesting. You got a lot of seats that are going to turn over, and we need that. We need some leadership change. Dire need of leadership change. I've been very forthcoming that I believe Tab Tabernick should be the next chair of Beaufort County Council, and I support her in that. But hey, let's get to the finish line first. Next week, we're going to be right back here. Don't forget, Monday is Memorial Day. Tuesday is Mom's birthday, and early voting starts. But we'll be back here on Thursday. We've got a special guest host. We'll see. We'll the next week, we'll figure out how that's going to all happen. But he's going to be on here. We're going to talk about all of the races, and we're going to get a citizen's point of view on where we are as we come to Election Day. Different twist. Don't forget, thank the folks at Sounds Better Now. Call them at 843-330-3124. Also, Uptown Auctions. Love Glenn and the bunch over there. All right. Remember, everybody, keep yourself safe. Look out for one another. And until next Thursday, watch your six. Good night, everybody.
I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go. I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go. I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go. I know I should sleep, but the voices in my head go. sleep, but the voices in my head go.